So quickly guys, we'll be looking at the tissue proliferative activity. And talking about tissue proliferative activity is just the same thing as talking about the cell cycle, right? So the tissue proliferative activity, we are basically looking at, okay, how tissues divide. Sometimes these tissues will rest temporarily, then sometimes these tissues will basically leave the cell cycle permanently, okay? So you can see this is the cell cycle, which is composed of the G1, you see the S1, you see the G2, I see the M phase, right? Then I want you guys to note this. This is a quiescent or stable cells. Now, the quiescent or stable cells, they are just a type of cells that are resting temporarily, and they will go into the cell cycle to continue dividing. Then for the permanent cells, we said that these ones, they have completely left the cell cycle permanently, all right? And these ones, they will not divide again, all right? Examples, we have neurons, cardiac myocytes, skeletal muscles, and the rest of them. So let's have an overview of what the cell cycle is, also known as the tissue proliferative activity. The cell cycle consists of the G1, which is known as the pre-synthetic phase. It's the pre-synthetic phase, all right? It has the S1, which is also known as the DNA synthesis. S1, okay, S, not S1, all right, S. S is the what? DNA synthesis or the chromosome duplication, anyone you want to call it. We have the G2, which is known as the pre-mitotic phase, G2, right, before mitosis, so we call it the pre-mitotic phase, all right. We have the M1, which is known as what? Where the mitosis is taking place, that's the mitotic phase, all right. So in this one now, we see that the quiescent cells are in a physiologic state called the G naught, all right. So talking about the quiescent phase now, we'll talk about other ones. These ones, they are in G naught. So tissues may be composed primarily of quiescent cells in G naught, but most mature tissues contain some combination of continuously dividing cells, right? So terminally differentiated cells, stem cells, and quiescent cells that occasionally enter the cell cycle. Okay, this is just talking about the composition of what? The quiescent cells. Moving on now, although I don't have a definition, I could just tell you one or two. Permanent cells are the ones that have completely left the cell cycle, all right? They have left the cell cycle, and basically what? They will not divide again. Then the cells that are actively in the cell cycle are the ones we call the labile cells, all right? So continuously cycling labile cells include epidermis, gastrointestinal tract, epithelium, all right? So these ones, they are continuously dividing. Why some cells, they divide, but sometimes they have to rest, okay? Now after they rest for some time, they still go back into the cell cycle and continue dividing, all right? So this is just an overview of what tissue proliferative activity or cell cycle, all right? So see you guys pretty soon.